it's Amanda Green from Amanda Green, and I'm here with my husband Lee, and we are doing the My Best Friends tag that Rachel from Sweet and Simple Home put out. We have been tagged, but I'm doing it just because I want to, and I wanted to introduce you all to my best friend. I've got a two bus with my husband as well, though, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so we'll just get right into it. There's 10 questions that we have to answer. The first one is, who are you and how long have you known each other? I've got my questions here, so I'll be looking down. So I'm Amanda.
I'm Lee.
And we met 13 years ago. Okay. So, what were your first impressions of me? So your first impressions of me and then my first impressions of you. So you go first.
Quite brave, I thought of her, considering we met at a bar and we shared a cab home, so she kind of remembered where I lived. I got dropped off first, she went home, but then got the cab and turned around and come back to my house, and I lived with other housemates, so I thought, yeah, she was quite brave to all of a sudden come back and invade my personal space.
Probably, that wasn't the first time anyway. So my first impressions were that particular incident we were talking about, or we were talking about, was the first night that he started work at the Italian restaurant that I was waitressing at. So I was waitressing in an Italian restaurant through uni, and so I saw him, I was at the bar, and the boss just walked him out the back to do like a briefing of the evening type thing, and my first impression was he was trouble. That was what I thought. That was my original thought. You've got to stay away from him, Amanda. He looks like trouble. He was really super cute and had a really cute bum. Way too much information, but a cute bum. Still does.
Yeah, but my first impressions are based about actual personal time spent, not work time, because she was front of house, I was back of house, so worlds apart.
Okay, so question 3. What is the craziest thing you have done together? For me, it would probably be a week after we got married. We sold all of our worldly possessions, everything we had, and we moved overseas. We went and lived in London for a couple of years, and then travelled around Europe. So that was pretty crazy, pretty scary, big move. Yeah. And you?
I think one of the craziest things that I think we've done is the choice to pack everyone up and follow me on a new career plan when I joined into the Defence Force.
Cool. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. What is the biggest fight we have ever been in?
None. We don't fight.
We don't really fight very much.
We do. Nothing of real memory though. There's been, I think, maybe 2 nights in our whole time, without exaggeration, that we've gone to bed without speaking to each other. But
just cranky.
It's stupid money arguments, if there are any, and that's about it. We're blessed with that.
Except we did have one bit of a doozy though, and that was after we had Kaylin, our second child. A big part of me was like, oh, desperately just want one more child, and Lee was fairly adamant that we were just going to stay with 2, and it caused a bit of tension there for a little bit. Nothing major, but so that's not really a fight, though, is it? No. Okay. 5. Did you have any nicknames for each other, and what were they? Well, I have a nickname for you, and Lee's nickname is Muffin, from the whole Love Muffin thing, and that came about, we were out and about, Lee was playing pool at a bar one night, because he used to play in like a snooker, 8-ball, whatever you call it, team, and they were playing, and I was trying to ask him if he wanted a drink, and he didn't hear me, and I was like, Lee, and then he still didn't hear me. So I was like, Muffin, because I had called him my little love muffin prior, but it was just something that we had just sort of said behind closed doors, I suppose. And still didn't hear me, and then all of a sudden it just came out, Muffin, do you want a drink? And a lot louder than I originally anticipated. and it just kind of stuck. And like everybody knows that I call you Muffin, and it was in my wedding vows to my dearest Muffin. Love Muffin.
I'm pretty ordinary. I don't have anything. Just baby, love of my life. Pretty sort of generic. Hopefully I'll change that in the next couple of years.
I don't need a nickname. Okay. 6. Have you ever fought over boys? No.
No.
Number 7. In what way are you different, and in what way does that complement your friendship? Okay. Well, if you ask me, I am the planner of the two, and Lee is much more fly by the seat of your pants, free spirited. He would probably say different though.
Oh no, that's the case, but my idea more so that outweighs the planner side of it is Amanda, when it comes to doing anything, say around the house, she's more of a very aesthetic, what it looks like person, as opposed to I am a very functional, very practical person. As far as I'm concerned, it can look as ugly as heck, but as long as it works, it's fine. So Amanda would much rather have something pretty that is absolutely impractical and doesn't work at all.
Your version of impractical is completely different from my version of impractical too, though. Like, I just don't like, like massive cords and, like stuff everywhere. Oh, the question's still away. Stuff everywhere. And Lee doesn't mind. He can just see past all that. Oh, okay. Right, sorry, I dropped my question. Okay. And that just works because we're opposites attract. That whole thing, like opposites attract. So, what is one thing you appreciate about your best friend? You get this.
No, it just ties into that previous one that it is not a bad thing that Amanda is a planner, because without that, I think there'd be a lot of times we would be up the proverbial creek without the paddle and not have a real direction, and you certainly need that in life, especially with young kids and a family. That's what I certainly appreciate about the different things that Amanda has.
I appreciate the fact that he values what I do, the staying home, looking after the kids. I really appreciate that. And if anything, he sort of encourages me in that regard. So that's pretty awesome, like he's not pushing for me to go back to work, and so that's really cool. Okay, 2 more questions. What kind of traditions do you have? Well, we've got quite a few. We've got a few traditions. A couple really stand out. For our wedding, Lee bought me these really beautiful, as a gift, candlesticks, silver candlesticks, and it's got all these little crystals and stuff around the rim of the candlestick.
The second anniversary of silver?
No, you got that for our wedding present.
Oh, that was our wedding present. Oh, I like it.
Yeah. So for our wedding present, Lee brought me that. And on one it's got engraved Lee and Amanda and the date of our wedding, and on the other one it's got engraved the light of my life. And when we got married, the day that he got married, he said that every anniversary, so on that day, every day thereafter, we needed to light the candles. So we lit the candles on our wedding night, and then we've lit them for every anniversary thereafter. Even when we went and lived overseas, we took one candle stick with us overseas. So
well, I was hoping that we'd always take out at some stage that evening of our anniversary to always at least, have the light, and hopefully it would encourage us to at least be sitting down having a meal together or just spending time together.
And another tradition. You started this one.
Oh, because I remember the very first night that Amanda was, well, not first night, but the first time Amanda was pregnant, the night before she was due to go for her cesarean.
The baby was breech week. They signed us up
really
for cesarean. We knew that he was going to.
And at the time, I know that music's always a good thing. I'm a massive fan of music, and so was Amanda, and I just ended up being able to listen to this song. I think I heard that day or the day before, and I just really wanted to play it for her. And I put my little iPod shuffle on every year while we were laying in bed, and
one little speaker each.
For some reason, just listening to that song, it certainly made her cry, but it was more of happiness, and it calmed her down. it just kind of stuck. So that became our first child's song. So it only seemed natural that then when we had the second child, I did the same thing for her. The night before, I found a song that suited both the moment and what we thought our child was going to be, and it stuck. And I did that again for the third one.
And you're going to pick
So 3 from 3 now. I've picked a really good song that we listened to the night before the child's born, and I will find a fourth one for this one. And it's funny how it plays out that we played the songs again just the other day, last week, and even our children are now
they know that it's
a
their
lot
song.
older. It's their song, but it just, even listening to the lyrics, it kind of fitted them. It's quite strange since they were picked before they were even born. So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and the other tradition that I guess we could talk about is the naming of the kids as well, like how we come to name them. Yeah, so our oldest son is called Thierry, and our second child is called Kaylin. And we picked Thierry because Lee's a huge Arsenal fan, and Thierry Henry was the captain of Arsenal at the time when Thierry was born, and I just thought he was really cute. Thierry Henry was, anyway. And so we picked Thierry Henry because it was a really nice name, it was different, and, you know, being a teacher, it's hard to find a name that you don't associate with any particular children. So that one, I have never met a Thierry before. So I picked Thierry's name like that, and then there was a TV series that we really liked called Legend of the Seeker, and there was a young lady in that who was magic. And people confessed every time that she came around. Confessor or something she was called, was her power, and her name was Kaylin, and we really liked that. And after those two, we were pregnant with obviously Nalia. Somebody mentioned to us that both Thierry and Kaylin were Queensland country towns, and we both are from Queensland in Australia. That's our state, that's where we come from. And so we thought, well, with Nalia, we needed to pick a name that was a Queensland country town so they could all have a connection to each other.
Yeah, so they're all country towns in Queensland that we've added a silent H to.
Yeah. So when we picked the name for this baby, we are going to pick a Queensland country town name with a silent H out of the Indigenous place. So yeah, it's a tradition nevertheless. But and then we also have like the Christmas things that we make and all those sort of basic ones that everybody sort of probably has. But yeah, those three in particular are really special and important to us. Yeah. Okay. What's your favourite story about us?
My favourite story, I think, that I've told most people is after we were married, we lived in England, travelled Europe. We were over there for 2 years, but the moment that stands out for me is we were in Prague. We had a brilliant time, and the beer there was so cheap and so good. So the last night we did a bit of a tour around and checked out, the typical chapels and cathedrals and the Jewish quarters and that sort of thing, and had a really good time and came across this quaint little bar, pub,
like a local sort of
it was a real local thing, and we were more than welcome there. They had tables at the front, which was brilliant, so you could just sit out the front. The sun was still up, watch the world go by. It was a prime spot. And as I said, the beer was cheap. It went down so quick and easy. Before we knew it, we were there for hours. We'd spent minimal money, but we were absolutely blind. We were a write-off. It was funny.
We're not really big drinkers.
No, we're not. So it didn't take that much, but we still put a few away. The worst part was very early the next day, we needed to be at the airport, and we were flying to Germany. So we barely, and I mean barely, we got to the airport. We got to the airport with some time to spare, and the worst thing that we did then was lay down in the lounge where there was a little bit of room. We both fell back asleep, and it wasn't for blind luck that I just happened to be awake enough that I could hear our names being called over the speaker. for us that we were last called aboard. So
We became those people.
I managed to find enough strength to get myself up, Amanda up. We both had a big, backpack that we used to travel everywhere each. Drag ourselves to the plane. We got on the plane. It was a short flight, but even by the time we got to Germany, we were still an absolute mess.
I was pretty sick, wasn't I?
Amanda was vomiting once she got out of the airport in Germany, at least, thank God. But she was vomiting on the way. We had a massive train ride, so I was all but piggybacking Amanda, plus 2 backpacks worth of gear. And I can assure you, I was not feeling that great myself.
You did.
I really had to keep it together, and it was a miracle that I did. I was a mess as well. We've never been so, I guess, hungover but sick at the same time, and
I just can't believe we braved public transport. You would have got a taxi or something like that.
Absolutely. We were on public subways and trains, and we had a fair distance to go. The awesome little hotel that we had booked just also happened to be on the outskirts of Berlin as well, which makes it great. So we had to get this subway and train to the end of the line, and pretty much every 50 metres while we were walking, we had to stop, and Amanda had to find a bit of gutter somewhere.
A garbage bin. I don't think I was sick in a gutter. I remember a garbage bin twice in a garbage.
Memorable. Messy, but memorable. And funny. We've always been able to laugh at it since. That's good.
Well, I think I laughed about it the next day. It was just...
Oh, the day was a write-off.
It wasn't really very good. Anyway, so my favourite story about us would probably have to be our engagement story. When Lee asked me to marry him. So it was a Friday, and I was I'm a high school teacher. I was a high school teacher before I had children. I teach home economics, and Lee was working night shift.
No, I was on day shift. I was a storeman.
Yeah, I know, because you weren't supposed to be there. So there was something about you.
Hence me being at work all day. I was supposed to be at work while you were at work.
No. But remember, I came home and you were supposed to be still at work. Like, you were supposed to be working. Okay, right. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, my point is, he was supposed to be at work. So I came home at like 3:30 and to a little apartment, and was home alone as far as I was concerned. And on the dining table there was this lovely little note, I love you, hope you had a really good day, blah, 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 blah. And it was sort of like a start of a treasure hunt. Here's a clue, I've left some little treats around the house for you, it's been a long week, that sort of thing. And so I went around the house with half a dozen places, picking up the little bits of treasure, and it's like, like a bottle of wine, all really nice, cool things that you would appreciate on a Friday after you finish work for the week. So a bottle of wine, some smoked oysters, some like cheese and salamis, all these sorts of yummy treats. And with a bit of hindsight, like everything was cold, so like if I really thought about it really hard, I would have realised that, like it had only been out for a couple of seconds. But I wasn't that clearly. I was just so excited. Woo, awesome cheese, yeah. So I was woohooing at all the little things that I found and followed all the clues around the house. And the last clue led me to the cupboard in the spare room. And I don't know, they're just like a flat pack cupboard, and have the drawers sort of inbuilt over one side and the hanging over the other side, right? So I opened up the drawer that had the drawer section, and if you've seen the Addams Family, that hand that sort of like walks like independently, all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, all I could see was this moving hand, and here's me thinking I'm home alone, and a hand moving in the cupboard. I like screamed, it was like, and it took me quite some time to get over the freakiness of the moving hand in the cupboard. Yeah. And I was really scared, because I was in that, how you get in that zone, I'm home alone zone, and I was finding all these treats, and I was like, in my mind, I was like planning out the chick flick and, the afternoon of yumminess while he was still at work. So like the hand comes moving out of the cupboard, so I screamed and slammed the door and started like really freaking out. And then, did I open it again, or did you open it?
No, I opened it because I had to calm down. I thought you were running out of the bedroom, but you were just on the bed, like panicking.
Yeah. So he opened the door, and there he was, all dressed up.
Sweating my butt off.
Yeah, because he was in like a tie and a shirt and all fancy. And yeah, he got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. And yeah, I think I was still crying and scared at this point. I think it took me quite some time to get over the freaky factor of the moving hand. But yeah, it ended well.
It's not how I envisioned it was going to go down. She was more excited about the cheese than to find me.
Well, because I was going on my little treasure hunt. I was in that Home Alone zone time, excited about what was going to be spent, and then you just scared me, like the jeevers out of me.
Yeah.
In the cupboard. But yeah, so that's probably my favourite story to tell. And yeah, so and then there sort of like when we shared that story with everybody else, there was that running joke then is that Lee came out of the closet to propose to me. So yeah. So that was quite funny. So yeah. That's our 10 questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Lee, my best friend.
Thank you.
Okay, love you. Bye. Thanks again.